Good evening. My name is Stephanie Rice, and for this speech, I'll be demonstrating how to safely remove an IV. Before that, I will go ahead and show you my volunteer who has had an IV put in already, and I'll explain how we place the IV before I explain how to take it out. The first thing we did was we just gathered our materials, which is everything you see in his arm, the IV line here, the IV bag, the IV catheter, which is hidden under the tape that you can't see, and then some gloves. So when we inserted the IV, we just placed the needle in at a 45-degree angle until we saw blood. We lowered the IV to a 30-degree angle and continued pushing it in. A fun fact that many people don't know about IVs is the needle does not stay in your arm. All that stays in the arm is a plastic catheter. The needle actually comes out and goes into a sharps container to be discarded. After that, we just taped the IV down. We placed the HEP lock on that stops the blood flow, and we then plugged in the IV and started the line, and now you can see it's actually pushing fluid into his arm. Now we'll remove the IV line. So the first step is always to put on your gloves. In school, they actually have a funny rhyme that they make you say to memorize putting on your gloves. So you come up to somebody and you hold up your hands and you say, BSI for my buddy and I. And that means body substance isolation. The next thing we do is we're just going to shut off the fluid. We don't want to have water keep flowing through when we take the IV out. So the next thing we do is we're just going to grab a cloth of some sort to stop the blood flow when we take the IV out. We're going to easily remove the tape. Some of these tapes can be strong enough to rip off skin, and so we have to be very careful, and sometimes you may even have to get an alcohol swab to remove the tape. These ones came off pretty easily, so we'll just remove the tape here. We will go ahead and remove the IV line actually, so we'll unscrew the IV line and we'll just let that fall for now. We'll remove the last little bit of tape, and we want to be real careful with this one because it's what is stuck to the catheter, and if you're not careful you can pull it out, which usually does not do any harm, but it's a little bit painful for the patient. So next we will just place the cloth on top of where the IV is inserted, and we will quickly just pull out. And then we just apply pressure for about 45 seconds, and we're going to hold the extremity above the heart level of the patient. We just hold pressure there to keep blood flow from coming out of his arm to clot it up and close. And that is how you remove an IV line.